everybody, welcome back to part 2 of drawing exercises 4. So we're on the next design layer, chamfer tool, and I'm going to spend a little time looking at the chamfer tool. This is a really useful tool. So chamfer tool has a couple different modes. The only one we're going to deal with is this third mode here, which will chamfer and trim. If you click on the preferences button, you can set the chamfer settings 3 different ways. You can choose the length of the first and second line. So if we wanted a 3x6 chamfer or a 3x3, we could enter here. We could choose first line and the angle. So we could go, if we wanted it to be symmetrical, we could choose 45. Or we can choose the chamfer line length across the diameter. So you have 3 different ways of using it. So you certainly can use this like a chamfer bit for creating a chamfer and having an equal chamfer. I want you guys to also think about it as a way to create tapers and shapes, right? Again, rather than drawing a shape, can we take a rectangle or some other shape and modify it to get it to be the shape we want? So in the first instance here, I want to create this tapered table leg, and I can actually use the chamfer settings to do this. I'm going to use the first option, and well, first I have to select my object. Oh, actually, I don't. I take that back. Choose my chamfer tool. Where is it? Down here. Set my preferences. I want the first line to be 15. And my second one, I'm going from 2 to 1, so I need to remove 1 inch. So I'll have my second line be 1. Click OK. Now the order in which I select my sides is important. I have to choose the first one and the second one to create my taper. So this is a really, really fast, controlled way of making angled parts. If I want to make my toolbox end here, right? I need, if I have 4 inches left over, that means I've removed 6 altogether, 3 here and 3 here, and then 13 minus 6 is 7. So follow along with me. I set my first line at 3, my second line at 7, and click OK, and I click once here and once here, and then I go back up to this line, and I've cut my toolbox end. So it's a chamfer, but it's really like slicing the corner off. It's not chamfer in the way that we woodworkers think about chamfering, you know, with a chamfer bit that's a 45 degrees or a 60-degree chamfer bit. You can control the length of the sides. The offset tool is a great one. You can set an offset distance. Let's choose 4. And you have to select the object, choose the offset tool, and then if I click inside the object, it creates a second object that is 4 inches away. Or if I click outside the object, it creates a duplicate 4 inches wider. Now, my other object is still there. It was just covered because of the fill, but there are now actually 2 objects there. There's this circle and that circle. You can create an offset for any shape. Either inside or outside. This is a great tool to use if you want to make some frame and panel doors and you don't necessarily need to show the joinery. You're just doing a concept drawing for a client. Set the distance, so you can either use the preferences button or you can just enter the distance in here. You'd enter in 2.5, and now I click inside this object, select this object, click inside, you gotta select the offset tool, click inside, and so on. At this point, I can continue using the offset tool, or I could go back to my old favorite, the mirror tool. Duplicate. But the offset tool is a pretty handy tool to use and pretty easy to use. The clip tool looks like an eraser. Now here's the thing with the clip tool. There's a clip command and a clip tool. Clip command is different. And what it allows you to do is you have to select your objects, and then you can draw a marquee of different shapes. And whatever is inside the marquee that is selected. Did I lose the tool? This object. Whatever's inside the marquee gets erased. There we go. So you have to have your object selected first. So let's try that again. I select all these objects. I go to the clip tool. I draw a marquee. And whatever's inside the marquee is removed. You can draw a marquee of a different shape. Now here's the thing, remember, you got to have your object selected first. It won't work. If I want to remove a circle, I can make a half moon. I can create a polygon. As my cutting shape. This is a really handy tool. Let me show you something. Say I am building a deck, and here's my deck floor plan. I'm going to get rid of the fill. And I'm not going to measure anything. I've got my, pretend this is my it would help if I grab the right tool. Here's my joist. I know it's not to size. I'll move by points. 10 is okay. All right. What I can do now is grab my clip tool, since they're all selected. Make sure I'm in the rectangle mode. And trim those. You can look at the other modes of the tool. This allows you to remove area from outside the marquee. This one selects objects, the marquee, splits the objects of the marquee boundary. Play around with those. All right, here we go, getting into adding surfaces. So we want to draw with objects. Sometimes you can't draw with objects, you just have to draw with lines, but you can join them. So this is a join command. So commands again are in the modify, or usually in the modify menu. So what you do is select your objects, modify, and join. They don't even have to be touching. They just have to be close to each other. And Vectorworks will modify, join them.